claiming the title.
Yes, absolutely. And what I love about Tord is that he didn't make it here in London. So he's like, hey, you know what? I'll just go overseas. I'll go over to the States. And and evidently he did so well there. I think playing Drampa Garbodor over there. So Garbodor is a deck that he's very familiar with. Here we have him playing Golisopod Garbodor, so something very, very similar. Is it Golisopod or is it Zoroark? So, beg your pardon, he's playing Zoroark Golisopod. But again, a very, very experienced player and one that a lot of people know within the community.
Yeah, we've heard it just from Robin when he was interviewed by Joe. So both of them, of course, being very good friends. And Robin said that he had the list from Tord. So that means you are going to see Robin and Tord navigating the exact same deck list. And here you can see Igor Costa. I think you're familiar with this face. Igor is running a Decidueye-based deck together with Zoroark GX.
Absolutely. And again, you have probably seen, if you've been watching the stream over the course of today, you have seen this Decidueye Zoroark deck. And I mean, this is something that us casters had no idea would feature over the course of the weekend. But here it is. This is Decidueye Zoroark, which has great synergy with each other. So obviously you have Zoroark for its trade ability, which allows you to set up those Decidueyes. And once you get those Decidueyes out, you have Feather Arrow, which places the damage all across your opponent's side of the boards. And yeah, I mean, it's just such a powerful deck. And again, we have two very, very well-known established players, champions, should we say, in their own rights. So it was impossible not to feature this match for you.
No, this is just an amazing match. This could have been very well also the final on Sunday. No one would have complained if we said this is going to be the final, right? And so we are able to feature this to you right now. So every single turn, every single round that we are going to feature, we are going to have two big names facing each other.
Absolutely. And I think they've just done the dice roll there. So they're just about setting up, just trying to see what's going on here at the moment. I think Tord might have a mulligan, I'm not too sure. But they are just setting up at the moment. Having a look at Igor's hand, I'm just trying to have a look what he's opened up with. I think he had a Rowlet in the active spot. Tord there setting up as well. They have just done the dice roll, and we should be getting on with the game very, very shortly for you.
Yeah, they're not giving away anything here for free as they are placing their prize cards, and we can see them already in the prize cam. So we can see that on Tord's side there's a Wimpart, there's also a Zoroark GX and another Zora, so nothing too much to worry about as he's playing so many copies of these. And a Decidueye, two double colors energy. That's quite hurting for Igor here.
Yeah, two double colors could be pretty pivotal, especially when your Zoroark relies on having that one energy attachment to attack with the Riotous Beating. So that could come back to maybe, haunt Igor here. But, I mean, he doesn't rely on that so much. It's more the Feather Arrows that he's relying on. But we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, we're hoping for a very close match here, and we're looking forward to it. I hope you are looking forward as well, as the players are just waiting for the sign to get started, to extend the hand and get going. As you can see, Tord is featuring his nice cuddly Celebi here. He needs it probably as a good luck charm.
Absolutely, and it's always great having those good luck charms. And
it's gone.
David just said, no, sorry, you can't have that on the table. So there goes your good luck charm, Tord. But
yeah, clean desk policy, the handshake. Here we go. It's round number 7 for you guys.
We are up and running, and Tord is going first. So opens up with the Tapu Koko, which is probably one of the ideal starters within the game, just because it has that free retreat. So it gives you so much versatility as to what you want to change into.
Yeah, I just saw Tord was going to slam that Acerola on the table. Of course, he doesn't want to play that. He's smiling. Of course, he thought there was another lady, in that case, Bridget. But he has access to it. Don't worry about it. Here's Tapu Lele and would be very much confused if it wasn't for Bridget here.
Sure, and he is going for the Bridget. You can see because he's put that in the front of the deck. But the reason why he hasn't just taken it up and taken the Pokemon he wants out immediately with that Wonder Tag ability, of course, is because he is doing a very brief deck check to try and work out what's prized within his deck. He's trying to just look for a lot of the important resources and work out, hey, like how many Golisopods do I have in the deck? How many Zoroarks do I have in the deck? How many Double Colors Energies do I have in the deck? And that's kind of what he's using this time for. And you are allowed an extended time for your first deck check to make those checks and try and work out what is prized.
Yeah, there you go. There's a Mr. Mime, there's a Zorua, and there's a Wimpart. That's probably what he's eyeing out. And there we go, slamming those 3 cards onto the table for Tord there. So Bridget working well again in round number 1 for this deck.
Absolutely, and again, what's so great about this is that the Tapu Koko can retreat for free, so it can go into any one of these Pokemon. On top of that as well, when he evolves into the Golisopod, he'll be able to use First Impression, which will be able to do the 120 damage, which is such a solid way of starting. And really, you always kind of want to go first with evolution decks. So Tord has been fortunate enough that he is able to go first, which means he'll be able to attack much sooner than Igor will be.
Yeah, Igor looks excited about this. So here we go. There's a Grass Energy attached to the Wimpart, and it looks like a very strong turn one for Tord already, and this is why he's passing. That's it. And let's see what Igor can do with his hand.
Sure. Bridget, oh wow, didn't even use Tapu Lele, just didn't need to use the Wonder Tag, just went for the Bridget, and he is opening up with the Bridget, again doing a deck check as well, just trying to work out what's prized. Hopefully he isn't too upset when he finds out he's got 2 Double Colors Energy prized, but he is still going through the deck. You can see Igor there, actually, he's got a pen on the side, so he's just making some mental notes, writing them down on the piece of paper, just to kind of give him some sort of some pointers for later in the game.
Yeah, I think this is exactly what he's doing right now. He wants to make sure that he can remember what he's looking for in case he's not having access to another card that allows him to look through his deck. Bridget, interestingly enough, he only features one of these copies, so we can see there's already a big difference in these decks and how they approach it. There's also a Zoroark feature, of course, and Rowlet, so you would imagine Igor has the very same goal like Tord, playing Bridget in the very first turn, but he says one Bridget is enough for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, the issue is that if that one Bridget does get prized, that can be a bit detrimental. But in this case, it's been absolutely fine. He's managed to search it out. Or, it didn't even search it out. He just had it in his hand from his opening hand. But over to Tord, he goes into Zoroark GX, which is pretty big, just because now he has that ability to use trade. So that is going to add a lot more consistency to his deck. Tord is using Ultra Ball here. Just having a look what he searches. Does he... I think he had a Professor Sycamore in hand. Okay, so that would make sense. So he's going for the Golisopod GX because obviously he will retreat that Tapu Koko and go for the First Impression attack. But in the meantime, I believe he's going to play Professor Sycamore and hit a fresh 7 new cards.
Yeah, he has a really strong hand. So Ultra Ball, discarding those 2 cards, another Professor Sycamore, drawing himself 7 fresh cards and slams it on the table. No high five in this case.
No high five.
He also has a Zoroark, so he has more draw engine. There's another Zoroark waiting to be evolved. Right? So this is amazing on Tord's side. Perfect start.
Absolutely. Although it doesn't look like he's drawn into too much. I'm just trying to have a look at his hand. Wow. That's a bit of a clump hand. He's got one Grass Energy. He's got a Wimpod in there, which he can't bench because he's got 5 Pokemon. A Field Blower. He does have the trade, so he's going to use trade now. Wow.
That's amazing. Discard a Field Blower, get 2 more.
And only only watching the stream can you see these things. So I mean, the good news is that because he has that Zoroark, he's going straight with the Zoroark to KO those Rowlets, trying to prevent Igor from getting as many Decidueyes into the game as possible. But the good news is that even though he doesn't have a supporter in his hand, he's going to take a prize, and then he'll be able to use trade again next turn in an attempt to try and draw a supporter. But Igor opens up with a very strong following turn, getting that Rare Candy onto Decidueye and using Evo Soda to get Zoroark GX.
Evo Soda is so important in this case because Igor, I don't think, had a supporter card in his hand, but with the trade ability, he gets himself 2 more cards. So very important. It would have been a dry hand without a Zoroark in his deck, but now he can discard something like, for example, the Max Potion, which he doesn't need right now, or maybe the Dartrix because he evolved his Decidueye just now, and now hoping for a supporter card in the next 2 cards.
Sure, and one Rowlet just got knocked out. There's one Rowlet that's already been evolved. Another Rowlet is in the prize zone. There's only one more Rowlet in the deck, so he's going for an N. So yeah, he might be pretty short of trying to get out more Decidueyes at this rate. But the good news is he still has his Zoroarks, which are viable attackers in themselves.
Absolutely, and now the first Feather Arrow can come out during this turn. Igor drawing 6 cards here, Tord 5, because he's picked up the first KO already, and we can see that the Zoroark GX are piling up on the field.
Absolutely, and I'm just trying to think what would he target here with the Feather Arrow. Golisopod, there's a Rowlet, so that might be his final Rowlet, I think. I'm just having to think, because one got knocked out, one's in the prizes, so maybe there's one more in the deck, I'm not too sure. But at this point, with the Feather Arrow, what is he trying to target here? Does he want to go after Zoroark in the active, or is Golisopod the bigger threat at this point? It's really quite tricky to work out, what is the biggest threat coming from Tort's side.
In this case, it's just a pass, if I saw that correctly.
Oh, wow, so he has no energy in hand. Did he even use Feather Arrow?
I think, there's no energy, but I think he missed out on the Feather Arrow there.
Wow.
So Tort's turn now. I think he drew already. So Tort now with another trade and looking for that second Zoroark GX on his side. He's playing 4 copies of these, so you would imagine him being able to draw into one sooner or later. He has one prize, but he doesn't have his Ultra Ball, so maybe he's digging for it with another N sooner or later.
Absolutely, and one thing that Tort does actually have going for him is that his deck is predominantly Stage 1s and Basics. Wow.
Wait a minute.
Wow, okay, so that's pretty big. That's pretty big, because now I might have to... It would be interesting to have a look through the discard pile and work out how many Rowlets are in there. There is definitely one prize. There is one Evolved. That could be all the Rowlets. I think that might be his last Rowlet. I'm not too sure.
We'll find out soon, as there's an Ultra Ball in Igor's hand, and for Igor it's really, really grim right now. So he's discarding another Evo Solar because he has no targets for it anyway. So there's finally an energy you needed last turn.
Right.
So now it's very interesting to see what he's going to be investing in. Oh, no! Oh, there's another trade, and I was thinking about, is he playing Sycamore right now?
The issue is, obviously, with the energy, he needs a double colorless energy because... Well, I mean, he has to start filling up this bench because that Zoroark is dependent, that Riotous Beatings is dependent on how many Pokemon you have on the bench. And obviously, with not having that many Pokemon, that's, 40 damage tops? And if you add the Choice Band, that's 70, which is, I mean, it's kind of adding up numbers, with the Feather Arrow as well. But, okay, so Igor, immediately recognizes this, which is why he's trying to get more Pokemon onto his bench. He's gone for the Ultra Ball for the Zoroark, but still, he can't attack without that double colorless energy.
Yeah, he got the bad news right there, as he noticed that there is no more Rowlet in his deck, and now, because he only has access to a Grass energy, he's not attaching it to any of the Zoroark, but instead to one of the Decidueye, preparing potentially also an attack from it if he finds himself a double colors. But we know 2 of them are prized, so Igor in a very tough situation.
It's very, very tough, isn't it? So he's kind of restricted to Rowlets, and he's restricted to double colorless energies. That doesn't make good showings for Igor at this moment in time. But we'll see what he draws from this N. He does really need this double colorless energy, because if he doesn't, he could be quite far behind at this rate. He's got it. He's got it in his hand. I think it was the first card that he drew. So he's got Floatstone. What would he retreat into, though? Is he just playing that down to thin his hand size, or...
He might protect it from another attack and maybe throw up the Zorua, but I'm not too sure what he's thinking about. So the double colorless energy will have to wait for one more turn. Now he's making use of the Feather Arrow, I believe, and he would target the Golisopod on the bench. So that's the first damage that is appearing on the field. But apart from that, I don't think Igor can deal more damage.
Right, so I beg your pardon, because I just remembered he has actually attached this turn. He attached the Grass energy onto the Decidueye. So one thing he might actually be thinking at this moment in time, which is why he was contemplating the Floatstone, was putting on the active Zoroark and then switching it down to the Decidueye, which he can then use. He can go for his GX attack in Hella Hunt and then return 3 cards in his discard pile back to his hand, assumably his Rowlets.
Yeah, he decides against it and passes it over to Tort, who can still build up on the demanding situation, on the commanding field that he has right now. So there's another Zoroark GX hitting the field. Finally, he finds himself the second copy. Now he has access to 2 trades here, and he's still looking through his deck just to make sure that he knows what is left in there. Yet again, he has nothing to worrying in the prize cards. There's a Guzma maybe that he wants to make use of later on, but Tort very much happy with the situation.
Absolutely, and I have a feeling that, not at this moment in time, but I think, does Igor Costa play? He plays Enhanced Hammer, I'm pretty sure he does, but that could be quite a big deal at this moment in time, because that does start taking energy off the board from Tort's side, and as you can see, Tort is like really set up. He's waiting to go. He's got those Zoroarks, not only attacking, but drawing more cards. Golisopod is doing its thing. It's waiting to go as well to do more damage. Yeah, I mean, really, one of the main benefits that Tort has is that his Pokemon are functioning off stage 1s in exchange to a stage 2, which makes it a little bit more efficient.
I think Todd has to improve his trade game because he's again discarded the Bridget and draw into another one. Well, the field blow was just the same. He discarded one and drew 2 more of them. So trade's not working well for him so far. He doesn't really care too much about it as he is dealing some righteous beating on the opposing Zorak GX, 120 damage.
Absolutely. And the thing is, at this point, he's got max potion. That's big. He needed that max potion to try and preserve that Zoroark. He does have the double colored energy in hand. He's just trying to work out how much damage he's going to be putting on onto the opposing Zoroark in the opponent's active spot. Goes for a trade, tries to draw in to see what he's got there. Don't think there's anything too useful at this moment in time. There is the Field Blower if he wants to get rid of that Choice Band on the Golisopod on the bench. Another trade. He's got a max potion which could be useful, and a Professor Sycamore. Yeah, it's no basic Pokemon though, so he is kind of capped, and there's no Choice Band either, so he's kind of capped. Has he even used Feather Arrow?
Yes, used Feather Arrow on the benched Golisopod, but at the same time, you can see, as you said, Righteous Beating only dealing 80 damage because he has no more access to another Rowlet or Zorua. So, not working too well for Igor here, and Todd is really thinking just how can I cement this commanding position that I'm in right now as he's trading in another Ultra Ball here.
Todd's got Enhanced Hammer as well in his hand. That could be so crucial, given that Igor actually has 2 double colours energies prized. If he plays that Enhanced Hammer, which I'm sure he will, that could be quite crucial at this moment in time because Igor is going to need another double colours energy, and there's only one more in the deck. Yeah, oh wow! So that is that's one double colours energy gone. There's only one more in the deck, but how many resources does he have to burn to find that double colours energy just to keep the pressure on the game and to stay within the game?
And here we go, Acerola. We were talking about it. Todd's deck is really strong in really denying those prize cuts on the opposing side. And here we go. Golisopod is going to be capable of dealing more damage in its own right. We know, though, Igor has one more turn at least with the max potion that he can buy himself.
Absolutely. And that's, I guess, one of the benefits, if you like. You do have to force the energy discard with max potion. Given that there is no energy on that Zoroark, it's just pretty much like a free heal at this moment in time. So that's the kind of the one kind of shining light for Igor at this moment in time. But I mean, crazier things have been done. Igor doesn't look in a great position. Yes, as you can see, the max potion. Igor doesn't look in a great position, but we have seen some pretty interesting and crazy comebacks. So don't count Igor out just too yet.
Yeah, Todd announced first impression. There was a bit of a debate how much damage it does, and Igor was like, "Don't worry, buddy, I got that max potion real quick here."
Just showed him the max potion and didn't even bother counting the counters. Just pushed it straight all back off. So, but yeah, as you can see, Igor is digging at this moment, and he needs that double colours energy. It's pretty crucial. Has he got it? No, he did get the Choice Band though, but without the double colours, he is not really doing too much. So there's a Float Stone. At this moment, I think Igor is probably contemplating. Field Blow is a pretty smart play at this point, but Igor's probably considering putting up Decidueye and using its GX attack, just because then he can recover things like double colours energy, like Rowlets. He's using N. So yeah, that might be a very solid play at this moment in time, just to try and recover resources that he doesn't actually have access to. Let's assuming that he doesn't draw it with the N at this moment in time.
It might even be his only option here, so 6 more cards he'll be able to see, and one of these he's hoping is going to be a double colourless.
He's got Special Charge in there.
That's good, so at least something. However, remember, there's only one double colourless in the discard pile, so it's not really of a big help here, so he's more inclined to use the Hollow Hunt here. Rescue Stretcher getting some more resources, and in this case it's Routed. He's recovering it and putting it immediately onto the bench.
Sure, and obviously the benefit of that is that he can now evolve that the next turn.
Putting 3 cards into his hand is what he's going to do from the discard pile. Most likely the double colors is going to be among it. Let's see if he has announced that attack yet. No, I think, yeah, here we go. Sure. There's the Hollow Hunt GX for Igor. And now let's see what he's going for.
Yeah, so it'll be very interesting to see what he is getting back. It's quite smart of him that he acknowledged that the Special Charge does put the Special Energy back into the deck. He really wants those Special Energy into his hand because he needs it for the following turn. So that's why he didn't play the Special Charge at this moment in time, because as you can see, that double colors energy is going straight back into his hand. Max Potion is a pretty solid play at this point because he realizes that he's going to take some damage. So by having Max Potion in his hand, he can kind of reverse that. It'll be interesting to see what the last card is. I can't remember if I saw a Decidueye in his hand. Is that why he's thinking to get the Rare Candy?
Yeah, not too sure about it, so it doesn't really add up for Igor. At the same time, interestingly enough, Igor again decided against playing the Feather Arrow and dealing some more damage on Todd's side. So maybe he forgot about the Feather Arrows in this case. It's, in any case, not looking too well for Igor here.
Absolutely, and it's very, obviously we sit here from a commentary perspective, but when you are under the light, when you've got so much going on, you're thinking about so much, and obviously, some like small things like Feather Arrow does actually become, you just completely slips your mind, and I'm very guilty of doing things like that myself. So it's not always, when you are under the spotlight, to remember every single intricate play, and that could be one of the reasons why he's forgotten to put the Feather Arrow damage on.
Also for Igor, he looked a little bit, really in his thought. So maybe he's even thinking about, is it worth thinking about scooping here?
Yeah.
So looking at the time, we only have 33 minutes left, and Todd is expanding his lead with 2 puzzle of time here. Really interesting to see what he's going to take. But Igor is not giving up this game just yet. But he's looking at the clock, so maybe he's thinking about it at least.
Absolutely. And as you can see, Todd, if he just keeps spamming those double colorless energy, oh wow, he's going for the Guzma as well, and then retreating, assumably, will be into either the Zoroark or the Golisopod, which will knock out that Rowlet, and it's just such a commanding lead from Todd. He really has, full grip on this tie. There goes the Rowlet, which he has a shortage of at the moment. And does he has a Rare Candy in hand. Did he have the Decidueye? Because that could have been a Decidueye the following. I think he does. Oh, wow. That's a really, really big play there from Todd to prevent him getting that second Decidueye out.
Yeah, Todd realized that additional damage from the Decidueye is what could bring Igor back into the game, and Todd is not allowing any of that. There we go. Yeah. There we see the Feather Arrow.
Very good. Yeah, so he's got the Feather Arrow on here. So I'm just trying to think, what has he got in his hand at the moment? What is he contemplating could be the next, the optimal play? He can continue using Trade, which I think he is doing. So he's going to be using Trade. So he's just discarding the Decidueye because obviously he has no Rowlets left. So it's... he does have the double colored energy in hand, which is good because he can now attack this turn. He has the option of Razor Leaf, which he can attack with Decidueye, and then he obviously has the option of the Riotous Beatings with Zoroark GX.
Yeah, but still the numbers do not add up. It's still almost impossible for Igor to pick up a prize card here. Even if that Golisopod takes additional damage, we know that Todd recovered an Acerola just now with the Puzzle of Time, so what is Igor going to do?
Yeah, so any damage that he puts on to this Golisopod, Todd will literally just play Acerola, put the whole thing back into his hand, and reset the damage, and then Todd can then attack back onto the Zoroark, and that is effectively putting Igor back one turn. It's giving him, he's taken 1 step forward and 2 steps back at this point. Although, saying that, he does have the max potion in hand, which will be useful because Todd is going to use Enhanced Hammer to get rid of that double colors energy. But then he needs another double colors energy to attack with.
It's just amazing. Look at Todd. He even
He's
drew
so
into
in
an
control,
enhanced
isn't he?
hammer, and he has 2 Puzzle of Time again, so he has access to his discard pile. There goes the enhanced hammer, and I think Igor is out of double colorless, so he has to use the special charge again to even be able to attack.
Yeah, and credit to Todd. He's played this so well, but not even just the way that he's playing this. His deck is just so well thought out. Those Puzzle of Times are putting in a lot of work, in the amount of Acerolas and enhanced hammers he's reusing constantly, time and time again. Yeah, so there goes the Acerola, and Tapu Koko, beg your pardon, becomes active. Wimpod goes down, and there you go. There's a Golisopod ready for next turn. He can quite easily go into Zoroark GX, which is going to hit the maximum 100 damage because it has 5 Pokemon on the bench. And yeah, so Igor does have Max Potion, which is going to help him out quite significantly at this point. But how can he attack if he doesn't have any... he's got Special Charge. Okay, so that will get 2 Special Energy into which he only has 1. So I believe he has still got 2 Special Energy, 2 double colors in the deck. He has 2, in his prizes and in his deck. So now he is just using Trade to try and dig for those Special Energy.
Yeah, and remember Robin's words in the interview.
He
said he has access to 7 Acerolas. Tord now has another Acerola in hand. We know that Igor knows that. There's at least a double color, so Igor has something to work with.
Has he got a Guzma? Is that what he's thinking? But even if he brings up something, I think actually a Guzma would be a really good play at this point because it eliminates the threat of a potential Golisopod for next turn. But, I mean, I don't think he has Guzma, any outs to... No, I don't think he does. He has Professor Sycamore in hand.
It's going to be tough playing that Professor Sycamore at this point, but he's attaching the double colors to the Decidueye. He used the Feather Arrow on the bench Wimpart. Now the Decidueye is becoming active and is going to be dealing some damage to the Zoroark. Interestingly, he chose not to use the Choice Band on the Decidueye.
And I think that what's really good about Decidueye is it has 240 HP, which, I mean... Zoroark and Golisopod just can't hit those numbers. So given that it has so much HP... Oh, there's the Field Blower. Given that it has so much HP, it could withstand a few hits. 90 damage could be significant, especially when you start adding up the Feather Arrows. That's only 2 Feather Arrows from knocking out that... Oh, so Igor has just scooped and acknowledged that he's too far behind in this game. Again, because Igor is playing that Stage 2 Decidueye, because it could take him a little while to get back into that game, I think it was probably the right time to scoop the game in an attempt to try and get back into it and maybe even get a tie from this round.
Yeah, Tord now up 1-0 here in this Clash of the Titans, and Igor was looking at the clock quite often during the last couple of turns, and he was thinking, okay, this is the time. If I want to make a comeback here, if I want to tie this match, maybe even win it, I have to scoop right now. There's no way for me to come back.
Absolutely, and depending on how long it takes for Igor to win this, I don't think that Igor can potentially win 2 games. I mean, I could be wrong. I very much hope that I am wrong. But with a Stage 2 deck like Decidueye, I think it could be very, very tough for Igor to come back and win this series 2-1. But nonetheless, he is still very much so looking for that one win, which would at least give him a tie at this moment in time.
Yeah, I would love to listen to the conversation that the 2 top players and the judge David Hochmann have here right now. All the 3 players obviously being in the best of spirits here. They are, even if either of them loses, are still very much in the run for day number 2. So there's every reason to be excited.
Absolutely, and there's still so much to play for. They still have such a long way to go in this big event. And I mean, 1 loss at the moment is not really, I mean, it is... a loss is a loss, but at the same time, there's still so much Pokemon to be played over the course of this weekend. So, I mean, if Igor can kind of get a tie out of this, I think that would be a good result for him at this moment in time, given how accomplished, Tord is and how well thought out his deck is. I mean, it's such a fantastic deck that he has there with that Golisopod, the Golisopod and the Zoroark.
I agree. I think he would take the draw at this point as the players are putting up their prize cards. The good news for Igor is only 1 double colors prize this time, but yet again another Rowlet.
Yeah, so there's a Rowlet in there. There's 2 Ultra Balls. So, there's a Tapu Lele in there as well. It could, I mean, that... What's in his, he has Ultra Ball in hand, which means that he can go into Tapu Lele, which I think he is going to. Tapu Lele, which will get him the Bridget. Bridget is not prized, so that means he will have access to getting those basic Pokemon out and into play. So that will be what he is looking for. He is looking at this point to do a deck check or a deck search, try and work out what his prizes are. He only has the 1 double colors energy, as Julian was saying, this time around. And as you can see, he's making some very quick notes on a little notepad on the side of there. So just a little outside of the screen you can see, which will kind of help him for the later game to remember things that he wants to remember early on.
Yeah, Bridget is happening, and you can see on Tord's side in the prize card, not all 3 Bridgets are priced. So for Tord, most likely the Bridget is going to be happening as well. It's going to be very unlikely for him to see any turn 1 without a Bridget. And Igor almost finished with his checking the deck here, and he goes for Zora, it looks like, and the Rowlet was priced. Anyway, so there's no Tapu Lele. I think he might even have one of them in his hand.
Wow. So that might be, so he's gone for the one Zoroark, which has gone to the bench. He has the Rowlet.
Lily!
Wow.
I like that. So
turn 1
up to 8 cards.
Yeah, very strong turn 1. Does Igor only play the 1? Igor plays 3 Tapu Lele GX, so why has he... Well, he has a pretty decent setup regardless, so maybe he didn't even need the Bridget at this point. But those Decidueyes look like they're, ready to go. I mean, this is the difference. Yeah, there's another Zoroark. Just hit the bench there. This is the difference, ladies and gentlemen, from going first to going second, is that you can evolve these these Pokemon into their final stages and really benefit from it. So obviously, Igor will be looking to get Zoroarks into play, and that will eventually feed out the Decidueyes.
Oh, a puzzle of time from Todd. I don't like the sound of that. What is happening?
Wow.
It's Guzma. Todd
No,
hands
he
completely dry.
He has not. Has he really got? Wow, I'm just trying to look what's in his hand.
That's it? He passes.
No way has he. Wow.
And now Igor, look at Igor's face, it's changed completely. There's the rare candy, he has a Professor Sycamore choice band.
He's got Sycamore, he could have game this turn, he could have, wow, he's got DCE in hand.
Another rare candy, another Decidueye, it's amazing.
Wow.
Dartrix.
Does he have, oh.
It's 40 damage if Todd doesn't draw into something.
Okay, so...
Hello Hunt coming out, max potions being recovered from Igor here. So and another Lily.
Does he have Ultra Ball in hand? I believe he, okay.
Ultra Ball!
Wow.
There we go. Puzzle of time. He knew the Ultra Ball was coming. And just in time, there we go. Checking his deck. And then Tapu Lele is going to be giving him access to that bridge. And slams it down.
So that's why he played the Puzzle of Time. The first, obviously, Puzzle of Time works in two. So, for example, you play 2 Puzzle of Time, and then you get 2 cards back from your discard pile. But in this case, Tord saved himself, survived the turn with that Lone Mr. Mime active, and put that Ultra Ball at the top of his deck. So he knew that next turn he would be able to search out the Tapu Lele, which would get him the Bridget, and then go into the 3 basic Pokemon.
So this is going to be exactly reverse of the first game. Now Igor's setup looks very much commanding, and Todd is just trying to hang on here.
Yeah, it's amazing how this game changes so quickly. You see so many dominant game ones, and then game 2 can be very the opposite, if you like, in this case. And I really thought that Igor might have even had the game 1.
This is going to be over very, very soon. Igor now finds himself the 3rd Decidueye.
Yeah, and he draws 2 from the Lily. Is that Zoroark? He's got Zoroark, so he can trade, which he's going to do. He's drawing 2 from trade. He's got Floatstone in hand.
And even a Guzma, so what is he going to target? He could use it. He decides to go for the Feather Arrow, 3 of them even, and this means the double colors together with the Zora is going to be discarded. Igor picks up a prize card.
Yeah, it's truly incredible how this changes so quickly. I mean, if this ends quick enough, Igor might be inclined to go for that
win. This could be it. There's nothing in Todd's hand.
Wow.
He could evolve his Whimper, but what is he going to do any good?
Wow, he's got no cards in hand. He's got nothing. Right, so if Igor has got to end this quickly, because if he wants to get if he wants to win this 2 out of 1, he has to start thinking about wrapping this up pretty quickly, because he's still got Todd's conceded. Wow.
Well, that's all he could do. Todd sees no scenario whatsoever to come back against Igor. Igor picked up the steamroll here and equalizes the game. Now it's game on, best of 3.
Sure, and I take back everything I said. Igor has plenty of time now to try and grind out a win here. So it's tied at 1 apiece, and Igor could take this 2-1, being 1 down. Tord can take this to be 2-1, or again they could tie. But obviously the benefits that Tord will have going first in this next game is that because he is going first, he'll be able to evolve his Pokemon much quicker than Igor will be able to. So we'll see how it plays out, but it's very, very exciting to say the least.
Yeah, the tale of 2 cities here unfolding in this very match, and not too often that we get to see a match that can actually play out the best of 3 here on day 1 between these 2 great players. But I think we have enough time on the clock just to make it for the whole game and for the whole match to unfold.
Absolutely, and it would be great if we could find a winner in this best of 3 series. It would be great if someone came out on top. Obviously, from both players, I mean, Tord is what I would say. Tord did the right thing, I think. He scooped the game and thought, hey, you know what, I'm going first in the last game, or in the 3rd game of the series. I will be able to evolve quicker. I'll have a much better hand. I'll probably have a much better chance of getting a victory in this case. Whereas if he had tried to hang on for a bit longer, I mean, he might have topped into something, but he would have been so far behind that if he did eventually lose that game, he wouldn't have had time to make a comeback for the third game, and we would have just ended in a tie. So I think Tord is evidently playing for the win here and did the right thing.
It looks like all the players and even David are so happy about this match. It's so exciting, and also for us, of course, we're very much excited that we have these amazing matches here on the stream as the game number 3 is about to start. Tord most likely going to decide to go first. We're going to see if he's going to find himself the Bridget yet again.
Absolutely, and this is why you come to these big tournaments, to play against the best players in the world. That's why we're here, to see these players compete. These are champions in their own right, and we come here specifically to play against these players, and if you are observing, to watch them play and to learn a lot from not only just how they play, but also their decks as well. But Tord is opening up here with a double Zoroark, so Mr. Mime on the bench. And what is in his hand? Is that a Tapu Lele GX? Yes, it is a Tapu Lele GX. So
in this case, maybe even he is not going for the Bridget just because he has so many Pokemon on the bench already, and because his hand is so dry, he might think N is the way to go, and he's eyeing it out. Let me search for that through that deck real quick here to understand what is priced. We can let you know there's a Bridget priced, a Golisopod GX. Nothing too much worrying for Tord here.
Yeah, so Tord has at the moment, he does have that one Bridget prize, which, I mean, he plays 3 anyway. One Golisopod, nothing too much in there. Igor has the Espeon EX prize, which we haven't seen over the course of the series. He has the one Tapu Lele GX in their prize, which... how many Tapu Lele GXs? He runs 3, so that's fine. So he does have access to another Tapu Lele GX, considering he's just started with one. But otherwise, not too much in there, I think, is worrying him. But yeah, Tord, as you say, Julian made a very good point that he already has 3 Pokemon on the bench, so there's no point, or kind of, to get the maximum use of Bridget, you would need 3 spaces, so there's really no point at this moment in time, which is why he's gone with the N.
There's the N, and Igor looks... also happy about that, and sometimes you have these kind of hands where you're really hoping you don't start your turn 1 with that kind of hand, that your opponent decides to go for the end. This might be one of those times.
Absolutely, and sometimes the great thing about Pokemon is having that poker face. Sometimes when you think, you look at your hand, you think, oh dear, my hand is really, really bad, and then someone ends you and you're like, what a relief. But
talk about bad hands. Look at Igor's hand. He has a Professor Sycamore, but 2 double colors, not too much to be working with here.
He does have Special Charge in his deck, which isn't prized, which can get them back. And of course, he does have the Hallow Hunt as well. I think at this point, Igor just attaches to Tapu Lele GX and then just tries to Energy Drive and, maybe just Sycamore that way. But yeah, not ideal in the slightest, you would have to say.
This looks terrible. He decides to go for the Float Zone instead of the Choice Band and discards it. I like that when players are just discarding lots of cards and trying to hide them, but of course Tord picks them up and takes a look at the double colors that is discarded this way.
Wow, Igor is not... Igor has got... is that Special Charge? The last card in his hand, maybe? I think I saw Ultra Ball as well. Yeah.
Look at this. Beautiful. Beautiful for Tord here.
Yeah, it's...
Again, it looks like Tord is on the upper hand in this case. So 2 Zoroark GX, that means he can trade twice this turn. If he doesn't like his hand, he has an N, at least as another double colorless, so at least 80 damage coming from his side. Plus the Choice Band is 110 damage. So Tord now thinking about how can I expand this position here. He decides to go for another trade, not N.
Yeah, it's very, you do have to make those things very clear that you say trade and then the N goes to the discard pile and that you're not playing that. But Tord just, using his trades, he wants to maximize his bench here because, there goes the double colors energy. And he wants to maximize his bench space here just because, that Zoroark, does he have I don't believe he has a knockout this turn. So I think Igor is safe. So, that Zoroark will max out at 100 damage. Then obviously the Choice Band will put it to 130. So 130. So, I don't believe he has a knockout. So Igor is safe for this turn. But, he does need to start thinking about getting some Rowlets into play. What does Igor draw here?
Yeah, Rage is beating now 110 damage.
Oh,
There's
he's got Bridget.
It comes a little bit late for Igor, but better late than not at all. And so now Igor finds himself 2 Rowlet and a Zora.
Sure, and at this point there's not really much point in Igor conceding the game, just because at this point you might as well at least try and play for the tie. There is about 15 minutes left. I don't believe the players are aware of how long is left on the rounds, but nonetheless, Igor is playing through his turn and trying to get into the best possible situation. And as I said, crazier things have happened in Pokemon. We've seen some miraculous turnarounds before, so no one is ever really down and out, especially not as early into the game as we are at the moment.
Oh no, not at all. 15 minutes left there until time is called, so Igor knows knows how quickly he won game number 2. So these situations can change rather quickly. So he has another double colorless also in play. The special charge recovers 2 of them, so in this case, Igor is not too much hurt by the enhanced hammer from Tord.
Yeah, and so that's a very nice play, because those double colorless energy go back into the deck, which means he has the option of hitting at least one of the 4 double colorless energies that he does have in the deck. There are no prizes at the moment, but obviously Tord does have the enhanced hammer. He has the puzzle of times, which can recover him the enhanced hammer. So he's always skeptical of putting down, but I guess at this point he kind of has to. Tord is using trade again with Zoroark. He's just drawn 2 there.
Yeah, so there is a Zoroark. I think this is the difference between Tord's and Robin's deck list. At least that's what I suppose.
The one Mindjack Zoroark.
Yeah, I think there's the Mindjack Zoroark. Tord is looking for another Zora to even maybe find himself another Zoroark GX. He finds himself a Wimpod, the first one here, and I think he has a Ultra Ball also, 2 Guzma and another Acerola, so he could think about denying the prize card next turn. It looks like this is what he's going for.
Yeah, and I think it's a smart play, trying to preserve as many, your opponent from taking as many prizes as possible. I imagine he'll just go straight back into the Zoroark that is on the bench, and then just go back to where he left off. And he's got 2 prizes here, with that Tapu Lele being in the active spot. Oh, okay.
Look at this. So Tapu Lele is going to be able to pull off that job as well.
Yeah, so just double colors on the Tapu Lele, and he has the knockout, which then preserves him, obviously, the Zoroark GX on the bench. So a very smart play from Tord, just looking through his hand, trying to work out what at the moment... what does he want to do at this point? He's used the Acerola. He's used trade as well. He's using Ultra Ball now.
He has like 30 cards in hand or so Tord can think about all the options that he has. So here's the Ultra Ball. I would imagine there's another Zora coming down to this bench, and there we go.
Sure, absolutely. And obviously, the more Zoroarks you have in play, the better your chances of drawing into those resources that you need, just because you can use trade more than once. In this case, will eventually be 3 times. So he'll be able to trade 3 times. So it's a plus 6 cards every turn, should Tord want to use that ability. So yeah, he's just... at this moment, he's got the Zoroark in hand, obviously, because he used the Acerola, so he has 1 for next turn, and obviously he just needs the next one after that. But he's got the knockout as well, so that is a knockout on Tapu Lele, which means that Tord will take 2 prizes, and yeah, he's got 1 Golisopod in the prizes, which is still in there, but I don't think he really needs Golisopod that much at the moment. I think it's more of a luxury. The main focus at the moment is really on those Zoroarks.
Yeah, so Tord now thinks I can deny a prize card and at the same time pick 2 up, so this is why I play Acerola in this case. And for Igor, again, look at this. It looks like it's his first turn, but it isn't, unfortunately, for him. Tord has picked up 2 prize cards already and a very strong board. Now Tord is trying to recover, and it looks like a very strong turn, so he's made the optimal result here from his hand by evolving Decidueye and a Dartrix. He finds himself also a Zoroark GX, has another Zora in hand, and the Decidueye ready to be evolved next turn.
Absolutely, and that was a very strong play on Igor's side, because, I mean, he's gone from having pretty much not too much on his side of the board to having a Decidueye and a Zoroark, and he's even got the Dartrix on there as well. The question is, what does he do? And obviously, just to remember that he does have the ability to use Feather Arrow. It is important to start using Feather Arrow now, because you need to start racking up that damage. Let's see if he remembers to put on that Feather Arrow. He is thinking about it now, so he's contemplating...
What's it going to be? Tord is asking. So here we go, 20 damage on that Wimpod.
Sure. And actually, this Tapu, does he have the double colorless energy in hand? I doesn't know, because that flying flip might have actually been quite a good play.
Yeah,
just to start adding those numbers.
Grass energy on the Dartrix, and he
pardon.
missed then again on the double colors energy. He might need it for next turn now. Tord finds the Golisopod GX and evolves it immediately. So that is not an easy target for an easy prize card anymore. Also a field blower, but discarded with the trade, which he can use 1 more of.
And it's just amazing. I'm really, really enjoying watching Tord play this deck, just because he draws through everything he kind of needs. And he's like, yeah, I can discard that. I don't need it because I'll just get Puzzle of Time and just bring it all back anyway. So it's a real pleasure to kind of watch this deck sort of play out. I mean, it's just amazing how much, command, like how much control you can gain from playing this deck. So yeah, he's going for the Ultra Ball. What will be his target, which will be the Zoroark? Of course it will be. Now he has the option of getting +6 cards every turn.
Yeah, now I figured out how Tord is playing free Bridget, so he has enough to trade in. So that's probably why he's playing the free Bridgets. Mm-hmm. Now Tord is shuffling back in. Yeah, I tried to make a joke. Didn't work out this time. So Tord now has used his trades. I think the third trade he can still use because he just took the Zoroark. He might discard yet another Field Blower as he's done before. There we go.
Yeah.
Trade.
He has a Guzma double color synergy in hand. He's going Guzma on the Dartrix. It's a smart play.
Yeah, we've seen this one before. So Tord is trying to avoid as many Decidueyes as possible, and he sees the threat of a Decidueye coming up, so he wants nothing to, doesn't want to have any of it. So Dartrix being knocked out by the first impression from Golisipad.
Yeah, and it's amazing how easy Dartrix is to knock out in comparison to when you get a Decidueye out. So he's acknowledged that threat very early on, and he's saying to himself, if I knock this out, that means that's one Decidueye less for Igor. So he's made a conscious effort to do that, which I think is a very an intelligent play at this point in the game. And I mean, often players don't like to go down to the odd number of prizes, just because usually that falls onto one prize, and then after that you might get N down to 1. But I mean, with 3 Zoroarks sitting on your bench, that's really not an issue at this point.
Yeah, and also the double colorless coming on to the Zoroark GX, but at the same time, because Tord is always eyeing out the easy KOs, Igor is struggling to put enough Pokemon on the bench to scale up the damage from the Righteous Beating. So here's another Zora, but does he find himself a 5th Pokemon for the bench? I don't think so.
No, it doesn't look like he has another Pokemon on the bench. It might be the case. He has double colorless energy. It's tricky. He does have... Okay, so he's going for it. Yeah, okay, so the Zoroark does have a double colorless energy on it. And he's just going for the Righteous Beating. 130
damage, so 150 now on the Golisipad GX here. There we go. But we know that Tord has many Acerolas at his disposal. I would be very, very surprised if he didn't find another one.
Sure, not just Acerolas, but Enhanced Hammers as well. And that is one puzzle at a time. Does he have the second one in hand? To see if he can get some resources back. I know there is an Acerola in the discard pile there somewhere. I'm sure, he's going to use trade and eventually try and dig something out. So yeah, it's... okay, he has Guzma in hand as well. So he might even be thinking at this point, do I want to maybe try and target some of the Zoroas? Because, if he takes one prize on a Zoroa, okay, he's going for trade again. There's a second Puzzle of Time, so now he's probably considering, I have access to an Acerola, which is in my discard pile. Okay, he's got to trade again.
Last trade, double colors energy, and another Puzzle of Time here.
Yeah, so again, he's going for the Field Blow, which is removing the tools. So he's probably thinking, do I want to go for the Acerola? Do I want to go for the Guzma? He's going for the Guzma to take a knockout. And this puts him in a very good standing because actually now he is only one EX or one GX Pokemon away from winning the game because he's gone down to even prizes. So very smart play there on Tord's side. Let's just see what Igor can conjure up here.
Yeah, what can he do? He has double colorless in play, but at the same time Tord is again doing a great job limiting the amount of Pokemon on Igor's field. So Igor, without additional Decidueye, without more Pokemon on the bench, he's not dealing enough damage, and we know Tord is using Acerola over and over.
Yeah, and it's usually such a powerful card because in this case Igor is drawing 6 cards, Tord is drawing only 2. But when you've got 3 Zoroarks in play, those Zoroarks are netting you a +6 cards, given that you have to discard 1. So it's, that's not really hurting Tord at this moment in time. And as you can see, Tord looks like he's kind of hurrying up the play a little bit. I think he kind of realizes that time's kind of, coming towards the end. And given that he's in such a commanding position, he won't want to lose this game. So he's going to try and play as quickly as possible to get that last KO on something like a Decidueye or a Zoroark GX.
Yeah, and here we go, Feather Arrow on the Golisipad, so the damage is piling up there, so maybe Tord is looking for that Acerola play. At the same time, Righteous Beating is going to dish out 110 damage on the active Zoroark, so preparing for a 2-hit KO.
Yeah, and
Oh, there's no choice, man, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. And I was going to say, Igor actually could probably try and, if he was playing for a tie at this moment in time, I think those max potions are pretty crucial. Those max potions will be the one card that will prevent Tord from being able to take KOs on those those big GX Pokemon like the Zoroark and the Decidueye. Or what Tord could do is, it could take a few hits to knock out those big GX Pokemon, in which case Igor would have the option then to use Max Potion. But he is, okay, and this was what I was saying actually, is that he has access actually to knocking out those very small Pokemon like the Zoroarks and the Tapu Kokos, which is what he's doing, which is exactly what he's doing. Which means that Igor won't have the option of using Max Potion because it will get knocked out immediately. So it's a very, very smart play on Tord's side. And again, if he does get end down to only 1 or 2 cards, he has those Zoroarks again to use trade.
Yeah, Tord is putting himself in a situation where any Guzma is going to win him the game next turn. Not too sure how many Guzmas he's played, though.
Yeah, it's we can see 1 in the discard there, which is one he's just played. Maybe he's played 2. I'm not too sure. But
and 1 more on the prize cards. Let's not forget about that one.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, his last prize is the Guzma.
There we go. Let's see it.
There's
have 1, 2. Yeah, he's counting it out. 3. No, there's no more Guzma for Tord.
Oh, wow. But he does have 4 Puzzle of Time. And I know he has at least 2. I think he's got about 2 or 3 Puzzle of Time left in the deck. So he might have access, even though the Guzmas are in the discard pile, he might have access to getting some back with Puzzle of Time, which might be what he's kind of thinking of at the moment. Let's see how many Puzzle of Time he has there. Can you see any Puzzle of Time as he's going through?
Maybe. I didn't see too many, so maybe 2, but I think I can't even remember if he played it, so it's a very, very exciting game here. So, and limiting, Igor knows that probably maybe there are only few Guzmas left, if any at all, so an end play could limit Tord's hand size. He knows he can still use the trades, but he wants to make sure, please don't have any Puzzle of Time, because that would basically lose him the game.
Exactly, yeah. So that's why he's playing the N. Obviously, you do get the benefits of playing Zoroark, but, he's, as Julian is saying, trying to give himself the best possible outcome he can to potentially getting a tie from this game. And so it'll be very interesting to see what Tord draws with this one card, and then he'll be able to use the trades, and then... Yeah, Igor has just got to keep spamming in at this point.
There's one of them.
He's got 1 Puzzle of Time. Okay, so if whatever that next card is, he has to then trade with whatever that next card is.
That's exactly how I started Pokemon, right? Get 1 card, trade that one in for 2, trade one of them in, and that's how I get a massive collection. So Tord is trying to find that second Puzzle of Time.
Sure, he can't afford to lose that Puzzle of Time. So whatever he draws from that top of the deck, he needs to... use trade with it as part of the cost to use trade, and then draw 2 more cards and obviously go from there. But that unless of course that next card is a Puzzle of Time, but as you say, those 2 Puzzle of Times will win him the game.
Rescue stretcher coming from Igor. There's only 1.5 minutes left on the clock, but it could all be over after that turn. There is a feather arrow coming after the Zoroark GX on the bench, picking up the KO here. The 2 prize cards for Igor. Now let's see what Tord is going to draw.
Right. He has to promote first. So what is he going to promote first? It will be the Zoroark. Okay, so he's got Zoroark. He's got an enhanced
Okay,
damage,
let's trade that one in.
He has to trade that in. He's going for trade.
Oh,
he's got it. He's got it.
And then throws it down. Extending. Igor missing the handshake there. Playing a little bit with the Tord, but it doesn't matter. Tord is in such a good spirit. Wins the game 2-1 just in time.
Absolutely. And you can see the power of Puzzle of Time, like how much it really shaped up that game. In the end, he ran out of resources to use what he needs to use, but then he used Puzzle of Time to get back those resources, kind of in a fashion like what VS Seeker used to do when people used to play that. But yeah, a very, very good game, and very happy that we managed to witness that game between 2 fantastic players.
Just look at them. They both look exhausted. I'm exhausted, Jamie. This was an amazing match.
It was, yeah. And when you are in a game of this magnitude against these kind of players, just trying to keep your eye on what they're doing, it really does take a lot of mental energy, I think.